The roar of nearly 80,000 fans echoed through MetLife Stadium as the final minutes before the concert ticked away. Backstage, the atmosphere was electric. Staff hurried through the hallways, stylists made last-minute adjustments, and the members of BTS prepared themselves for another unforgettable performance. In one quiet corner behind the stage curtains, Jungkook found Taehyung standing alone, taking a deep breath before stepping into the spotlight. "You ready?" Jungkook asked with a smile. Taehyung laughed softly. "As ready as I'll ever be." For a brief moment, the noise around them seemed to disappear. They exchanged a few quiet words, sharing the kind of understanding that only years of friendship could create. Then, in this fictional story, Jungkook leaned in and they shared a quick, affectionate kiss. An intimate moment imagined purely for this fanfiction. Unbeknownst to them, a distant fansite camera happened to capture a blurry silhouette. Within minutes after the concert, social media exploded with speculation. Some fans insisted it was merely a trick of perspective, while others began creating countless theories about what had really happened backstage. Neither Jungkook nor Taehyung addressed the rumors. Instead, they walked onto the stage with bright smiles, delivering a breathtaking performance that reminded everyone why millions admired them. Not because of speculation, but because of their artistry, passion, and unwavering dedication to music. As the fireworks lit up the New Jersey sky, the audience cheered louder than ever, leaving the mysterious backstage moment to remain nothing more than an unanswered story. The concert ended with thunderous applause, but the conversation online was only beginning. A blurry fansite video recorded from hundreds of meters away spread across every social media platform. Some viewers claimed they had witnessed an unforgettable moment between Jungkook and Taehyung backstage. Others argued it was simply a camera angle, a shadow, or two friends speaking closely before going on stage. Within hours, hashtags began trending worldwide. Backstage, however, neither of them seemed concerned. Jungkook sat on a sofa, scrolling through his phone before letting out a quiet chuckle. "I think the internet has created another movie," he said. Taehyung glanced over with a smile. "They're creative. They always are." The room filled with laughter as the other members joined them after changing out of their stage outfits. The excitement of another successful MetLife performance quickly replaced any thoughts about the rumors. Later that evening, while the stadium lights slowly faded, Jungkook and Taehyung found themselves looking out over the empty seats from a backstage balcony. "It's amazing," Taehyung whispered. "What is?" "That after all these years, people still come from every corner of the world just to sing with us." Jungkook nodded. "I don't think I'll ever get used to it." For a few moments, neither of them spoke. They simply admired the stadium that had been filled with countless voices only minutes earlier. "You know," Jungkook finally said, "I think we've been through almost every chapter together. The trainee days, the first showcase, the difficult times, the world tours, the military. And now," Taehyung smiled, "we're still here." Jungkook laughed softly, "Still annoying each other. Especially you." They both burst into laughter. Their friendship had never been built on a single moment. It had grown through years of shared dreams, endless rehearsals, late-night conversations, and the determination to keep moving forward despite every challenge that came their way. Outside, fans continued celebrating the unforgettable concert. Inside, two lifelong friends quietly appreciated how far they and BTS had come. As they stood up to leave, Taehyung looked back at the now empty stage. "No matter where life takes us." Jungkook finished the sentence with a smile. "This place will always feel like home." The two walked down the hallway together, disappearing into the lights backstage as another unforgettable chapter came to an end, while a brand new one was only just beginning. The next morning, New York woke beneath a blanket of soft summer clouds. From the hotel windows, the city looked as alive as ever, but inside one suite, the atmosphere was surprisingly peaceful. Jungkook sat by the window with a cup of coffee while Taehyung quietly flipped through a notebook filled with sketches and song ideas. Neither of them seemed interested in checking the endless stream of online discussions. "Still not looking?" Taehyung asked. Jungkook smiled without lifting his eyes. "Not today." Probably a good idea. Years in the spotlight had taught them an important lesson. The internet could tell thousands of different stories, but only they truly knew the moments they had lived. A knock on the door interrupted the silence. Breakfast! One of the staff members called from outside. Soon the rest of the members gathered around a long table filled with pancakes, fruit, and coffee. The room buzzed with jokes, laughter, and stories from the previous night's performance. Did you hear the crowd during Microcosmos? Jimin asked. It felt like the whole stadium was singing, Namjoon replied. Taehyung looked at Jungkook across the table. They always surprise us. Jungkook nodded. And that's why we keep giving everything we have. Later that afternoon, the members returned to the empty stadium for a brief rehearsal before their next schedule. Walking through the massive corridors without thousands of fans felt strangely quiet. Taehyung paused near the entrance to the stage. Remember when we used to dream about performing in places like this? Jungkook laughed. I remember thinking even 1,000 people would be impossible. And now, they stepped onto the stage together. Rows upon rows of empty seats stretched toward the horizon. It still doesn't feel real, Taehyung admitted. Jungkook looked around, imagining the lights, the music, and the sea of army bombs that had filled the stadium just hours before. I don't think success changed us, he said softly. It changed our surroundings. Taehyung smiled. But we're still the same kids who wanted to make people happy. Jungkook nodded. Exactly. As sunset painted the New York skyline in shades of orange and purple, the members gathered for one last group photo before leaving MetLife Stadium. No cameras from fans. No cheering crowds. Just 7 friends standing together after another unforgettable night. The photographer counted down. 3, 2, 1. The shutter clicked. For everyone else, it would simply become another picture shared online. For them, it was another memory added to a journey that had already lasted more than a decade. A reminder that the strongest bonds are often built not from grand moments, but from countless ordinary days spent walking the same path together. A few days later, BTS returned to Seoul after completing another unforgettable overseas schedule. The airport was busy as always. Cameras flashed from every direction, reporters called out their names, and fans waved from behind the barriers. Despite the long flight, the members greeted everyone with warm smiles before heading toward their waiting vehicles. That evening, the city was unusually quiet. Jungkook received a short message. Taehyung rooftop? Same place. A few minutes later, Jungkook arrived at the rooftop of the HYB building. The cool breeze carried the sounds of the city below while the lights of Seoul stretched endlessly into the distance. Taehyung was already there, leaning against the railing with 2 cans of iced coffee. You knew I'd come, Jungkook said. I always do. Jungkook laughed as he accepted the drink. For a while, they simply stood together in comfortable silence. It was the kind of silence that only longtime friends could understand. One that never felt awkward, only peaceful. You remember our trainee days? Taehyung asked. Every single one. We used to practice until sunrise. And still found time to joke around. Taehyung smiled. We really were kids. Jungkook looked across the city lights. Sometimes I miss how simple everything felt. Taehyung nodded. But I wouldn't trade this journey for anything. Neither would Jungkook. They had watched each other grow, not only as artists but as people. They had celebrated victories together, supported one another through difficult moments, and learned how to carry the weight of worldwide fame without losing sight of the friendship that started it all. After a long pause, Taehyung spoke again. Do you know why I think we've stayed close for so many years? Jungkook turned toward him. Why? Because we've never tried to be perfect around each other. Jungkook smiled. We've seen each other's best days. And the worst ones, Taehyung finished. And we stayed anyway. Taehyung gave a small nod. That's what real friendship is. The words lingered in the night air. Below them, Seoul continued to shine with countless lights, while above them the stars slowly emerged one by one. For a brief moment, there were no concerts, no cameras, no headlines. Only 2 friends reflecting on a journey that had begun years ago with shared dreams and uncertain futures. Ready for the next chapter? Jungkook asked. Taehyung smiled confidently. As long as we keep moving forward together with the members, I'm ready. They walked back toward the building, disappearing into the softly lit hallway, unaware that tomorrow would bring another stage, another city, and another opportunity to create memories that would last a lifetime.